I'd like to welcome everybody to this April 22nd, 2026 edition of the Manitoba Film and Music Info Session. We do this a couple times a year. It's a chance for all of us to learn about all of the new changes or updates to the funding programs that MFM has to offer. So thank you very much for spending your lunchtime with us. Manitoba Music does much of its work on the original lands of the Anishinaabe, Cree, OG Cree, Dakota, and Dene people, and the national homeland of the Red River Métis. We respect the treaties that were made on these territories. We acknowledge the harms and mistakes of the past and present, and we dedicate ourselves to moving forward in partnership with Indigenous communities in a spirit of reconciliation and collaboration. So again, I'm super happy that everybody's here. Today we are joined by Bonnie Seidel, who is the coordinator of music programs, and Stephen Carroll, who is the director of music programs over at MFM. And they are going to talk to us about their wonderful programs ahead of the upcoming deadline next month. So we do this oftentimes when we're running an incubator, and that's kind of what we're excited for all the people who have joined up to the incubator. And for anybody else who just wants to know some updates on all the wonderful the funding programs that MFM offers us. So without further ado, I'm going to pass this over to Stephen and Bonnie from MFM, who are going to walk us through all of the new changes and updates. So
Great. Thank you very much, Alex, and thanks, Cassidy and Rose, Manitoba Music, who are working in the background on this. I'm Stephen Carroll, Director of Music Programs at Manitoba Film Music, and I've been here for about, I don't know, a decade. And I've had the privilege of working with many, many artists through that time and developing their career through our investment programs. And I come to this work as from a musician background and managing bands. I toured the world for several decades, and that was a great time, and learned a lot and applied that knowledge to eventually become an artist manager and managed artists and wrote a lot of grants during that time. And I'm joined here with my colleague Bonnie, and I'll let you introduce yourself.
Hello, I'm music programs coordinator at MFM. I've been there, this is my 16th year. I'm a music fan. I'm not a musician. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I never know what to say about myself in these things. I was a radio DJ on Kick FM back in the day, but mostly, yeah, just music fan. Go to a lot of shows. I still buy CDs. I'm one of those people.
Awesome. Okay, so we're going to get right into it. So, Manitoba Film Music was established in 1986, and it is in the business of investing in the film and music industries. Today, we're only going to talk about the music programs. Film, we invest in tax credits, through tax credits rather, and investments in film productions and TV and web series. If you have questions about that, you can reach out to us and we'll direct you to our counterparts in our film department. We'll be dropping our email in at the end, but it's music@mbfilmmusic.ca. And Bonnie and I are here to help you through the programs and ensure that you make successful applications. So don't hesitate, reach out if you have questions or hit any roadblocks, if ever, with any of our applications or our online portal. So we have a suite of programs. They've essentially been the same-ish. They have different fancy names now for a long time. But Produce is our recording program. Produce Out of Province Artists is the program in which we will allow studios to come in and apply to have an artist from anywhere in the world come to Manitoba to record. Indigenous Impact Program is in a program open to Manitoba artists who self-identify as Indigenous, and it is a suite of it allows for a suite of different activities, which we'll get into. Promote is our marketing and video content creation program. Perform is our tour program, and Build is our business development program. So we'll go into details on each of these as we go through. But first and foremost, the program changes. April 1 is the beginning of our new fiscal year, which runs from April 1 all the way to March 31. And with that, we often announce program changes to stay current with the current trends in the industry and to address some bureaucratic issues on our side. So minimum age is now 16 years old for anybody to receive MFM funding for their project, and they would have to have a parent or guardian apply on their behalf. For new applicants to the program, aka somebody who has not been funded previously, we're going to ask for a proof of residency and a verification will be required, and that's submitted after only if you get funded. And Bonnie will reach out and ask for proof of residence. So that could be a copy of your Manitoba ID and or a current statement for utilities or bills. We have a 30-day grace period on expenses in advance of the applications being submitted now. That means that if you submit an application today, expenses backdated 30 days are eligible. This was already a guideline we had in the Produce program for the recordings, but now we've made it universal across all Manitoba Film and Music's music programs. And you'll see on the application forms, for those who have dug in already and are making applications, we've updated our application forms to include an AI declaration where applicants are to declare their use of AI in the development of the application's creative content, or that if it's going to be used as part of the creation of the project's final project, such as the recording or music video. MFM won't fund works that are entirely created by AI, and there must be demonstrable human authorship and control throughout the process. You can declare there the use of AI in your project. We're not asking for you to declare the use of AI in the creation of documents or in spell checking or grammar or helping you compose the marketing plan or such. We're asking for you to declare the use of AI or how it will be used in the development of your project. If you have any questions about that, you can hit us up. And it's always better to be safe than sorry. The works have to be copyrightable, and due to the nature of AI and its, let's say, tenuous relationship with copyright, we want to ensure that your works remain under your control and are not under the purview or ownership of the AI companies. A creation of new content cannot be a mechanical exercise, aka you can't go to the photocopier and photocopy a book and call it your own. So same applies for music. That's a whole presentation which we're not going to get into today because we want to get through the programs. But for Produce, we've updated we've introduced a new guideline which allows you to combine recording grants. So if you come in for a level 1, you can subsequently come in, which is for doing a single to generally, we see people coming for single to an EP, but you can come in for a full album for that one. But if in case you do come in for a few songs, you can come in later for additional funding to complete that album. And this applies to artists in cases where they've come in and they want to come in just for some singles and are going to record the album later. Key item is that level 1 recording will need to have been released and the cost report closed out before we'll let you come in for additional funding for the project. In either case, the total amount of funding that we'll invest in a project will never be more than the maximum of the highest level that you receive the funding for. So you can come in for a level 1 up to $3,000, let's say. Then you go out, you make the recording, you release it, you close it out with us. You can come in for level 2 for the rest of the album, and that's an award of up to $10,000. So therefore, you'd have $7,000 to invest in the rest of the recording. The same applies with level 3 artists if you are interested in the top tier recording, whereas that cap is $20,000. So the maximum you could get between the two grants would be 20. And that's the number of grants that we'll hold you at is 2. So this one's got a lot to unpack, and we might touch on it again as we go through this. And finally, we've changed kind of a nuanced rule in the Promote program, where we'll let applicants come in who have received MFM funding for a Promote grant to support the marketing or video production, the production of video content related to an MFM funded recording. I will let you come in as soon as you go in to the studio. Whereas previously you had to wait to apply till the album was complete and the tracks were mastered. This allows people to go into the studio and, with a video team and create content, which we know is very valuable these days. And that's only on MFM funded recordings. Bonnie, you have any additional comments or clarifications?
No, you got it.
All right.
Yeah.
So if anybody has questions about these changes, you can sort of throw them in to the chat here, and we'll try our best to answer them. And Cassidy, if you do see questions that right now, I could address them, or we could address them that are related to this program change.
I don't see any questions now, so you should be good to go.
Great. Bonnie, I'll put it over to you to start us off and give us some details and information on the Produce program.
Yeah. So the Produce program is the recording program. There are three levels, um, kind of four levels. So there's the demo level, which is up to $2,000 for a project that you would not be releasing. It would be for self-promotional purposes, so applying to festivals, building your team, working in a studio for the first time. Level one commercial release would be for a single EP, can be used for an album. That's $3,000. Some people do just come in for singles, but you can record as many songs as you want. It's a minimum of one song um, under that level. Then there's the level two, which is for a little bit more established artists. It's for up to $10,000. So you would have, potentially at least one team member on board, like a publicist, manager, booking agent, radio tracker, somebody like that. And then level three is for up to $20,000, and that's for established artists with a track record of touring, releasing albums. You have to have sold a minimum of 750 units of your most recent release. So that can be CDs, vinyl, or the equivalent streams. And there's three deadlines for this program every year. The first one is May 21st at 5, and then September and January. The deadlines are always at 5 because that's when the office closes and I have to turn off the program. We cannot, for whatever reason, the portal won't do it for us. So the cutoff is 5. Anything received after 5 won't be accepted. So you would have to apply at the next deadline instead. Uh, the Produce Out of Province program, same deadlines. Um, there's only a level one for commercial release for up to 3,000 or the level two for up to 10. There used to be a demo in this program, but we discontinued it this year because we didn't really need to keep it anymore. People weren't using it. Everything for out of province artists was being released anyway.
I did have a question about the relevant streams, actually, Bonnie.
Sure.
So how many streams equals 1 unit sold for any folks interested in the level 3?
It's 1.2 million is the total number of streams you would need. And I believe it's, oh boy, I'm blanking now all of a sudden. Oh, do you remember this one? How many physical units it is?
I don't remember how many.
It's 750 physical units, 1.2 million streams.
Yeah.
And that follows like the Billboard standards.
I'm just pulling up the guidelines to try and find it.
Well, while she's looking for that, I can talk a little bit about what goes into an application.
Yeah, we don't have it broken down as a per stream.
That's okay.
Sorry.
Now, Bonnie, I'll let it go back to you there and talk about what goes into an application.
Yeah. So yeah, this slide is the application requirements. So demos of the songs. So we require for a level, excuse me, for a demo level, we require 2 demos of the songs you want to re-record in the studio. So just rough demos. They can be voice memos. We don't recommend having a friend stand in the crowd at a concert and record it because it just never really sounds very good. But record it at home on your laptop is totally fine. For a level 1 commercial release, if you're just releasing a single, it would be 1 demo of the version of the single that you want us to fund. Or if you're doing an EP or an album on that level 1, it's 2 songs. For a level 2 or a level 3 application, you need 3 songs. They have to be unreleased, so that means they're not on SoundCloud or Bandcamp. They're not on streaming services. These are brand new songs intended for this release that you're asking for funding for. Your bio, which will actually be part of your applicant profile, and it gets pulled into your application. We'll do a demo of the portal after. But yeah, just you don't need to include the resumes for each individual band member or for your hired musicians. We just want the overall bio for you as an artist. Resumes of your production staff, so your producer, engineer, mixer. You can also include, like if you have a publicist on board already, you can include their information. For the budget, there's a template to download from the portal and fill in. It's an estimate of all your costs for the project, so your studio time, producer fees, engineer fees, artist fees, mixing, mastering, manufacturing, graphic design costs, anything related specifically to the recording. There is a marketing plan that you have to submit, but we don't want to see any marketing costs in your budget for this one. That'll come later when you apply for promote. Letters of support from industry folks that you've worked with before, can be venue owners, musicians, team members. If you can get a venue owner to write you a letter saying they're looking forward to booking you for your album release party, that's great. Marketing plan. So this is a big piece of your application. So it's as detailed as you can be about how you're going to release the music and promote it. It's good to put in at least, like I recommend putting in a timeline of at least a year's worth of activities from the day that you release your first single, or even a little bit before that, the lead up to releasing the single, and then into, next year, what are you going to do? So include your video plans. If you're hiring a publicist, who are they? If you want to hire a publicist, you don't have one on board yet, it's good to list out a couple of people that you will approach and why they're a good fit for your music. Same with radio tracker. What's your social media strategy for growing your following? It's good to put in goals. So, for example, after the first single comes out, you expect to have 300 more Instagram followers. That kind of stuff is always good to show the jury basically what you think will be a successful campaign. Touring plans, jury always wants to see live plans. So touring, showcasing, festivals, listing out where you want to play is always good. You don't have to have an actual itinerary booked, but even just putting, the single or the EP comes out in September and I'll be touring, August, September, October into, Western Canada or going to Europe, whatever it may be. List out the festivals you want to play, list out the showcases you want to play. Look at Manitoba Music's opportunities for showcasing as well. Yeah, did I miss anything?
Yeah, and if you're playing in a genre which doesn't do a lot of live shows, that's fine. Just note that a little bit. It'll be you'll have a different marketing plan if you're an EDM or working in hip hop. You're probably not going to be touring too much, but we do hope that you be looking at out of province performances or at least regional shows, and just put whatever kind of live initiatives that you're going to undertake. So facts win the day when you write your marketing plan. So this goes in front of the jury. You're going to try to convince a room full of strangers to fund your application and invest in you from up to $3,000 to $20,000. So they want to see a good, solid business plan, a good vision for how you are planning to go forwards. And generally, as an artist, you probably have all this stuff in your head already, thinking about what kind of content you're going to do. You're probably thinking about what video is going to do it, or so what videos you're going to make, what single is going to be first. And this is the opportunity. You got to put all that down on paper. And if you know who's doing the video, put that in. If you're going to be working with somebody helping with some marketing, put their name in. So try to get as much detail in as possible. That said, you don't want to lose the jury with a stack of papers. My joke is that juries don't weigh your application, they read it. So bullet points, short facts, but to the point. And try not to inflate things. Try not to put aspirational things. If you're saying I will build a website, that maybe is a little bit. We want to see you build one. So you'll have to have a few building blocks in place, such as your bio and whatnot. And ideally, you've been a bit active in the scene, depending on which level. Level 1 is the most accessible. It's the entry level program with awards between 2,000 and 3,000. But we're going to jump into the awards now, I believe, if I can get my screen to go onto the next one. There we
Sorry,
go.
Stephen,
And
I just
Cassidy
have a
has a
question.
question. Yeah, go ahead.
I had two things. So I'm seeing for some reason your face twice on my screen. I don't know if you changed something with the screen share, or if anyone else is seeing that, but I just thought I'd flag it.
How's that?
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
better. And there's one question in the chat from Emma, um, who says, for the demo level, would the marketing plan be more how you would use the demo to market slash apply for festivals?
Yes. So for the demo, it would be more of a project plan. So what is the demo being used for? Where is it being sent? Yeah, exactly. So you wouldn't talk about, releasing it to radio or, um, you know, putting it out on streaming services, that kind of thing. Um, yeah, you would just explain where you're sending it and why you chose those places or those team members.
And as far as which levels, like level 1 is most accessible. So if you're coming in for an award of 2,000, award for a demo, which is an award of 2, you want to make sure that it fits kind of where you are with your plan. And if you plan on releasing it, don't come in for a demo. Generally come in for level 1 commercial release, which is an award of up to 3,000. And that program is designed for artists who are just getting going. Ideally, you've been active locally and there's a bit of track record. If you've just been active locally and you only have a small track record, level 2 is probably out of reach. Level 2 is for artists who become to establish themselves and are more professional in their career and typically have at least one external team member on board. And level 3 is the highest tier, it's the hardest to get. And there you'd have like 3 of the big 5 team members in place. So coming in for the right level is really important. And I advise everybody on this call and anybody watching the recording later that you reach out to us and consult with as to which level you should come in for if you have any doubt. If you do want to do an album, but you're just getting going, likely coming in for level 1 makes sense. If you are more established and you've been active nationally to internationally, level 2 is probably achievable. It's always good to talk to us though and have a consultation because we want to advise you to to write a good grant and get funded
Yeah.
and to the suitable right level. So we'll talk quickly about expenses, maybe, Bonnie.
Yep. Eligible expenses under this program, as I said before, your studio time, producer, engineer fees, mixing, mastering, manufacturing, artwork, graphic design, photography, if it's for the album cover or liner notes. Donated costs, we allow up to 25% of the budget. So that would be if your producer, for example, was giving you an extra day and not charging you, they could put that on their invoice as a donated fee. We allow admin fees up to 15%, capped at $1,500. That's basically a fee to pay yourself for doing the application and all the admin work. And then we allow artist fees, $300 per day in the studio. And oh, we forgot to change the per diems. We raised our per diem rates this year. It's $60 per day instead of 45. If you're producing the album yourself, we allow your self-producer fees to also be $300, but instead of per day, it would be per song. And those same per diems at $60 per song. We don't allow in-house costs, so that would be anything like graphic design that you might be doing yourself. Artist fees do not count as in-house costs, so their allowances you can claim. But yeah, anything else you might be doing yourself wouldn't be eligible. Even if you're mixing the album yourself, that wouldn't be eligible either.
Yeah, if you are working on the project yourself, you can just claim that artist fee per song. or producer fee, same thing. And that's the only time we let you claim your own time, aside from the admin fee on working on the project. And it's the same true against all programs. So if you are editing your own music video, I'm sorry, unfortunately you can't. That wouldn't be eligible expense. All right, moving on. I can take, maybe I'll give you a break. I'll do the accreditation slide, Bonnie. So accreditation is for recording studios and engineers, producers who are working in Manitoba. And it's a requirement that you work as an artist with an accredited recording service. We have a list on our website. Generally, most people who are working professionally in the province are on our list. And if you are a studio owner or producer and are interested in getting accredited, you just reach out to us and we'll send out the application form to you. It's very simple. But it is a requirement for our produce program that you work with an accredited service in either the role as the studio, the producer, or the mix engineer.
If you're working with someone who isn't accredited, it's very easy for them to just fill out our application form from our website. And yeah, as long as they're professional, they will be accredited.
Yeah. There's a couple other additional requirements which we should maybe just touch upon quickly, and as we're
Sorry, we do have one more question in the chat.
Sure, go ahead.
Are the manufacturing of units, like CDs or LPs, or fees associated with digital release eligible in this grant?
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
Simple answer. Yep.
Great.
And there's a place to declare it in the budget. You'll see that show up in the budget line. A good place to get familiar with what's eligible is to just download the budget template, which is in our portal and available for download there. And we're going to talk about the portal and all that in a second, so it might become more clear.
Awesome.
All right, quickly, Bonnie, do you want to go through these ones?
Yeah. So other requirements, this is for registered businesses. So that's through the Manitoba Companies Office. If you're applying for a level 2 or 3 in any of our programs, you need a registered business. There's a fee for that. We don't require that you name your business. If you just want to register and get, they give you a business number, that's totally fine. You can name your business anything you want. Business bank account, we do make the checks out to your business name. So you will need to open an account with the same name. The applicant must be a resident of Manitoba, and you have to have lived here for a year and be legally allowed to work in Canada. Produce unreleased songs only. So that's your demo tracks that you're submitting. They can't be previously released on like another album or even just out on SoundCloud or Bandcamp, as I said a little bit before. And then for promote and perform programs, you have to have a current release. So either it was released within the last 2 years, or it's going to come out in the next 6 months.
All right, so that's the section on the recording program. The deadline, next one, is coming up May 21. We're happy to review your applications in draft format before they're officially submitted. So that's a tip. If you take anything from this meeting today, take that away. We'll look at your apps for you. So Promote is our marketing program. Unlike the Produce program, it doesn't have a deadline. Come in anytime while we have funds. It covers all the marketing initiatives you could imagine generally for your recording, in marketing of your recording, that is. And so that is now including content creation and video production all in one program. It used to be separate programs. And the caps are as follows. It's a $15,000 annual cap for those who have received MFM funding and in their recording. And then for a non-MFM funded recording, it's an annual cap of $5,000. And again, for the higher tier, you need to have a business registration, but it's not a requirement for the entry level. This offers a chance for you to get investment in the promotion of your recording. This program is not juried. You still have the 30-day window to get your application in before to have expenses be eligible. So if you apply today, your expenses backdated 30 days, promoting your record would be eligible. If you're working on this You have to submit a marketing plan as well. And every item that you list in your proposed budget, you submit a proposed budget, just like the produce program. Every one of those expenses in your budget should be explained in your marketing plan. If you're funding a music video, you'll be asked to supply a treatment and information on the director. Treatment would just simply be a summary of the shoot and the various locations, etc., and details of the concept. So this program, as I noted, allows you to fund a lot of different marketing initiatives, including hiring publicists, radio trackers, so team members, investing in online ads or other ads, creating marketing materials such as posters, as well as video content and music video creation expenses. Similar format across all our programs. You'll see donated expenses are eligible, which can be a portion of an invoice that is being reduced because somebody's being nice to you. Artist fees off on video shoots are allowed, but not on content creation, and those artist fees can be donated if you want. Again, we have an administrative fee, and merchandise costs are not eligible. And as we noted, you can't claim your own time for doing the marketing or doing graphic design or creating your music videos. That one, again, is very straight ahead. Applications should be in ideally within 30 days of the expenses that you want claimed, okay? And it's a rolling deadline. Bonnie, do you want to take the tour program?
Yeah. For the Perform program, it's our tour program. It has 2 levels as well, just like the Promote one. So for MFM funded releases, it's up to $15,000 per fiscal. For non-MFM funded releases, it's $7,500. And this includes basically any costs related to the tour. So booking your airfare, accommodations, taxis, parking, artist fees per show, and per diems per day on the tour. We don't allow merch in this program either. We don't allow in-house costs, so you can't pay yourself to book the tour. But if you have agent fees, those would be allowed. Insurance costs, so if you're buying instrument insurance, travel insurance, those are fine. If you're taking your own vehicle, you can claim mileage. If you're renting a vehicle, then you can claim the gas. We allow up to $750 in promotional costs related to the tour. So if you're taking out some ads while you're on the road, those would be eligible. If you're hiring a publicist and it's going to cost more than $750, we recommend that you apply for a separate promote grant just for that cost. Yeah.
Yeah, you can also apply for work permit costs in this to be subsidized, as well as insurance related to your tour. And we use a funding calculator for this one. So if you want to estimate what you're going to get, that funding calculator is actually one of the downloads on the Perform program on our in our application portal, and you can put in the number of people on tour, region you're touring, size of venue, and it'll shoot out a number. And we generally fund around that number if we have per show. If we have the budget, sometimes we have to prorate. Generally across these programs, we try and get as close as we can to the amount that you've requested, but when budget is lean, and depending on how your application is scored, it can lower that amount. Don't expect to get the full 15,000 on one tour. Like, you'd have to have a lot of tour dates to do that, because we're funding usually like $300 to $600 per show, depending on the size of band, depending on how far you're touring, and size of venues. And again, it's a rolling deadline. Get the application in within 30 days of your expenses that you want claimed. We do have an exception for people who are applying for work visas and have to pay for airfares in advance and that's that 30-day date, because you need more lead time for that. In those cases, you can just let us know and we'll accept those costs. Any questions about the last two that we went over there, Cassidy?
No questions right now.
Okay, very good. If anybody has any about those, you can ask them at the end. Here's the expense slide, which we went over. So you are allowed to claim an artist fee for every day that you are on tour, every concert that you play on tour, not every day. You can claim a per diem for every day, but per concert and per every band member, and we expect you to claim this cost. You can also claim hired musicians' fees in there as well. And again, check the budget template out, play with it if you're working on a tour. You can see what kind of expenses are eligible. And I'll take this one. So Indigenous Impact was a program we launched 2 years ago, and it's to support Manitoba Indigenous artists. And here you can come in for one application to fund several different kinds of initiatives. You got recording, marketing, content creation, video content creation, and then touring and live concerts. The impact level 1 is for artists who are Indigenous and have not received MFM funding previously. It has one deadline a year this year. Per year rather. It's the 12th. So the applications should be in before then. The level 2 is for artists who have a registered business and can have previously received MFM funding. And this is a juried program. So applications are right now being run through a Google Drive questionnaire, which we use, a Google form rather, and it will ask just the basics of your intention, what you would like to do with the money if received, and where you are at with your career, as well as we'd ask you to include a link to a recent recording of some kind. This program has also a mentorship component, so artists who are approved are paired with a mentor from the music industry who will help guide their project. For level 1, you don't need to submit a budget at the time of application. You'll work with your mentor to establish a budget, and that will be submitted to MFM. Whereas level 2, you'll need to include a budget along with the application. We pair mentors are Indigenous and have expertise in the music industry, and will help to further the development and reach of your career. All right, our last program. Bonnie, take it away.
Our last program is the Build program for music business development. This is for labels, managers, concert presenters to apply. There are 2 levels in this one. The level 1 is up to $5,000, and that's for companies that have been in business for a year. And the level 2 is up to $20,000 for companies that have been in business for 2 years or more. They have to represent, at the level 1 companies have to represent at least 1 Manitoba-based artist, and level 2 companies have to have at least 2 Manitoba-based artists. There's 1 deadline for this program per year, and this year it's June 18th. So lots of time to put an application together for that one if you are in one of those business groups. You can include staff salaries, office rent, office equipment purchases, promotion related to the business, but nothing related to the artists you're working with would be eligible because they can apply for themselves under our other programs. So we do allow the admin fee here, 15%, up to $1,500 again, and in-house costs are not permitted. So those rules are kind of across all the programs. Yeah.
Great. Okay. I didn't see any extra questions pop in so far. So we're going to take a minute now, and we're going to do a bit of a portal tour. So I'm going to attempt to change screens here. Again, if anybody has questions about these programs that we just went over, want us to review your application in draft format, reach out to us. And I'm just going to stop sharing, and I'm going to change screens here. In a perfect world. Okay, let's see if this works. Okay. So our application portal. It's linked through our website. This is where we receive applications, and applications are managed. As part of the lifespan of a grant, you'll submit your applications through this portal. It gets reviewed either by a jury or staff, and you'll receive a contract or a notification first, rather, with a letter of commitment or unfortunate decline notice. And just a note here that anybody who's declined, please do reach out if you have any questions about why you were declined. And for all those participating in the Produce program, we're happy to get on a call with you to review your application in detail, look at the jury scores, and etc., and go over the app to make it stronger. We're happy to do that with anybody for their applications coming in. So anyways, just to get back to the lifespan of the grant, you'll be submitting applications through this portal, and you'll also then, it'll be a place where you'll find your letters of commitment stored and contracts. As part of the process of receiving a grant, you will go into contract with MFM, who will write in the amount of funding we're offered, and there's more detailed obligations there. And as part of your requirements for MFM, you're going to have to submit a cost report and also deliver the final recordings or music videos, should those be part of your project. And the cost reports will live in this portal for you to complete. And so here is one of my test user accounts. You see up top is a suite of the list of programs by number, and that just indicates the number of programs that you can apply to. So for our business here today, you'd be clicking on the music programs to access the music programs. Up in the top right corner is your applicant profile. As part of your registration process with MFM in the portal, you'll create an applicant profile, and that'll be just a snapshot of who you are as an artist. So it will include your artist bio, discography, and information on your social media following and Spotify following. So if we click on this, you'll see I clicked on applicant profile, and this gives me the applicant profile for the test user account. I have not really filled this one out that well, but discography is down here, social media following, and then banking information. This portion of this applicant profile is presented to the jurors. So it's important that you update this, and I use it every day as part of my review of your applications. So it's important that you keep your information up to date.
Especially if you move.
Especially if you move. But your banking information is for us to give you direct deposit payments as part of the process, and that is hidden from the jurors. So that is private. So only staff and you, the registrant, have access to this information. That is the sensitive information. The artist bio, discography, and social media information does get shared with the jurors. So there's quite a lot to unpack in this little portal of ours, and I'm just going to give you guys a bit of a tour here. By the way, for those who are coming in for the higher tier levels, you submit your business registration information here. This is where you upload it. And this has to be completed and submitted and approved by MFM before you actually are allowed to submit applications. It's one of the first steps you'll do. When you first come into the portal, you'll be given a user ID. You get essentially your email and then a login. And this captures who you are here. This is me, my test user. That's the basic information that comes in first. And then the next step is for you to create your applicant profile, which will be your artist profile. And if you're coming in for the build program, it'll actually be your business profile. So essentially information on your company. And it's the entity that we will be giving the money to. No one can apply for funding for you third parties can only apply for funding on your behalf. Sorry, let me start this better. Let's start that sentence again. No one can apply for money for you on your behalf. They can only submit applications. The person who will receive the money is always you. Does that make sense? Did I do that correctly?
Yeah, so if you're hiring a grant writer, for example, they can submit the application, but we're not paying the grant writer. We're still paying
Yeah,
you as
that's
the
right.
artist.
So
Yeah,
that's what I was trying to get at. Thank you, Bonnie.
yeah, exactly.
But you can collaborate with people in our system. So you can invite a friend to work with you on an application, or a bandmate, and that will be under collaborators. And you can do that at the application level. And then if you are working with a manager, or you have other people on your team that you want to have access, or people in your band you want to have access to the actual application profile, you can submit that through the request manager. So I'm just going to go back to the home here. And if you want to work with somebody on an application, if you want to administer somebody's profile at the highest tier, essentially have the same read, write access as you, so a band member, somebody at the same level, or artist manager, they can ask to be your administrator as well, and they do that through their own profiles. But if you're working on an application, you can invite a collaborator, and I'll show you how to do that in just a quick second. But we'll look at our programs. So here's the list of programs. And if you want to start an application, you just click on Apply Now. These buttons only become active once you've submitted an applicant profile. So because we're looking at the recording deadline, we'll look at this one. But you'll see here is the guidelines, as well as the budget download, and there's also French versions. If you do want to use the portal in French, you have the option to choose languages. The portal and all our documents are all available in French. Key thing to remember once you get in here is, if you want to see all the upload information and all the questions, save draft, which is right at the bottom. That triggers all of the mandatory fields to pull up, and additional workflow function, just some computer stuff, which for some reason won't show up unless you hit draft. This also will lead to your applicant profile to get populated on the application level. As I mentioned off the top, some of your information from your applicant profile gets attached to your application, and that's all this stuff right here that just got pulled in. So it's good that this gets updated, and because the juries do see it, and I would use it all the time to review your applications. Project information is where we really get into it. This is where you start building out your application, and you'll have project information. You choose which level you're working on. Essentially, you're going to give us a snapshot of what you're doing, when you're doing it, where you're doing it. That's what these fields are all about. And a little bit about you. So which genre you're working in. If you're working, we ask you to fill out this table to include yourself as well as any other musicians. This is the permanent group members. I don't think it'll probably pull up in my pop-up, but click on that table, it'll open another field for you. Your team, and then the uploads. This is where you're going to put your marketing plan in. You just click on Browse Files to upload any of these required files. Key thing to remember is we want lyrics for the project. So the lyrics for the songs that you've submitted. And we also want to have song treatments. And song treatments are just about a paragraph or so detailing what you're going to do in the studio to change them from the original demos. And background on your team members. So this doesn't have to be all the musicians, let's say, unless you want to make a little short bios, but we don't ask for very big CVs, and it's asked for their music CV. So CV would be their resume. So just a bit on them as musicians. And then if you're working with a producer, that would be a place to put it up there, or a mixer. You can put in some past press, which I recommend is sort of like a highlight document. Just some quotes, favorable reviews of a live concert, or album reviews, or something that says you stand out. And then if you're working with an out-of-province artist, which I think is what I've got myself into here. This is the out-of-province program. If you're a producer, you'd be using this to upload the agreement with the out-of-province artist. Recording schedules and who's doing what, where is really what we get into here, but I'm not going to dwell too much on this. And then if you're going in for other funding, you can put the information there. So how much you've applied for, or whether it's approved or not. Finally, there's the financing plan, and this is just simply a short detail of how you're going to underwrite the costs that MFM isn't funding. So MFM only comes in for a portion of the budget generally, except for on level 1 and in the impact program, produce level 1 and in the impact program, whereas we'll come in for 100% of the budget. But if there is a balance that we're not covering, then just say how you're covering it. Generally, people just say, I'm funding it from my own bank account and I have put funds aside, something like that. But here up top, you can invite collaborators. So this is a good opportunity to invite your band members or grant writers to come in and work directly on this application. And then they'll be able to submit it and also edit, and we'll also receive the required documents such as the cost report and contracts and whatnot. So you can click on collaborators, that'll open this, and you hit the plus symbol to invite the collaborator. And all they do, they'll receive an email. If they're not registered in the system, they'll have to get registered in the system as part of this process. And this happens at the application level. So what I mean by that is you can add collaborators per application. If you're working with somebody who's come in through the request manager and has gotten admin privileges on your account, they will not have access to this grant unless they are a collaborator on it or they started it themselves. So it's generally the best practice if you have multiple people in your group or working with you on this grant is if you start it, add all the people you want to have access to this as collaborators. And then we'll go back to home for a second. And so just to finish up the tour of the homepage, programs are pretty self-evident now. We have our list of programs there. My applications is where your applications that you create are. Okay, so the ones that you've been added as a collaborator on. That's what you see there. And this is the various stages. So after it's submitted, it ends up in the submitted folder for us. And once it's approved, it goes there. And if it's declined or you finished it all up, it goes under closed. My action items is the repository, essentially, folders where your contracts will live, letters of commitment, and cost reports. And these have their lifespan of their own. And so Bonnie will issue a cost report and put a due date on it as soon as you get approved. So you'll have kind of a bunch of things that will end up in here right away. And so if you're ever looking for a cost report or can't remember how much you got funded, your letter of commitment will be in here. A letter of commitment will say, X, we're funding this for X. Congratulations, you're getting funded for X amount of dollars for this project. Bonnie, anything else I should note?
I don't think so.
Okay, great.
Well,
Yeah.
maybe just the process. So like when you first sign up in the portal, we have to approve your user access. So if you're signing up outside of our office hours, we actually won't see it till the next business day. So don't panic if you log in and it says you don't have access to anything. It just means that no one on staff has seen it yet. With your applicant profile, kind of the same thing. Like if you submit your completed profile outside of office hours, we'll approve it the next day. You can create drafts of your applications while you're waiting for your applicant profile to be approved. You just won't be able to submit it yet. Yeah.
Yeah. So I should give you guys a quick tour of the Produce program in here in the portal. But all the programs follow the same format. Essentially choosing a level, then putting a little bit of project information in. And then there'll be some required uploads and mandatory fields. And it will always flag if you're missing anything. So we tried to build the system to be a bit user-friendly, which means if you're missing something, you're going to see a whole bunch of warnings. And if you're, and the warnings will show up here. So if I try and submit this, I'll get a whole bunch of errors. So those will hopefully catch anything that you're missing, so you won't submit an incomplete application. And of course, if you ever want to know if the application is complete or if there's any issues, you can always ask us to review it in draft format. You just shoot us a note, and we do that pretty regularly. And if you're looking for us to review your application for the Produce program coming up, don't leave it to the last minute because we can be a bit backed up day of. And that is our presentation. Any additional questions? Doesn't look like it, right, Cassidy?
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm not seeing any other questions.
Anything come up? Anybody does have any additional questions, please reach out to Bonnie and I. We're at musicmbfilmmusic.ca, and always happy to help out because we do really genuinely want you to write successful applications to our programs.
Awesome. Well, I guess with that, right on the money at 12:59, we are going to call this session uh, done. Thank you so much, Stephen and Bonnie, all that great information. Good luck to everybody ahead of the grant deadline. And for those of you who have signed up for the Grant Writing Incubator, I'm really excited for you too. You should have met your mentors. If not, shoot me a quick little email. But yeah, get to work. You have some great music to make and some awesome grants to write. With that, I will let you go. Thank you for spending your lunchtime with us, and hopefully, we'll see you soon.